Hasbro, are you staying or leaving? Governor McKee says former governor and U.S. Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo made a call to the toy maker's CEO to press the state's case for keeping them in Rhode Island. Now, the board was in town Wednesday and Thursday, still no news, even though the governor says he has made a compelling case to keep Hasbro from shipping up to Boston, where it's reportedly eyeing a new headquarters digs, even as we speak.
The state has put forward a really strong plan for them to consider. It sounds like you're down to two spots, a Boston spot, a Rhode Island spot. We have every reason to believe that what we presented would be a very difficult package for Hasbro to walk away from. So right now we're waiting on their decision. I mean, they got three decisions, I think, in front of them, Gene. One is move, which we certainly have done everything we possibly could in discussions, ongoing conversations over the last few months to stay here, which I think is really a very high likelihood. Okay. Or they may pause, right? Because there's a lot of people, a lot of businesses right now that are pausing because of tariff issues that could potentially impact their businesses if they actually have a if the business flow really relies on out of country type of business. So those are the three options that I see on the table.
That was Ask the Mayor. That was Ask the Governor. How about Ask the Mayor? Well, Pawtucket Mayor Don Grebien is in studio. He has a lot to lose if Hasbro leaves. Thanks for joining me, Mayor, and coming back.
Gene, appreciate it, and thanks for the opportunity.
Okay, the board was in Wednesday and Thursday. The governor just laid out the options. Do you know any news from me right now as we tape?
I mean, as we were saying earlier, what we know right now is we put in a comprehensive plan. There are two that I understand from Rhode Island. There's Pawtucket and one location in Providence. And they are digesting that compared to the Boston. Having said that, they belong here in Rhode Island. We have a lot to lose, as you said. We offered a new spot down on the Apex site. Very competitive numbers. As I was saying, we have a better proposal from numbers-wise, because of the super TIF. But at the end of the day, it's a company decision, and we want them to stay. We hope that they want to stay, and we're working everything we can to keep the whole package.
Okay, Boston, Providence, Pawtucket. What about this hybrid plan that the birdies in your circles are telling me about? Maybe they move headquarters to Boston. The CEO doesn't want to be here. He gets a nice new office overlooking the waterfront, but he keeps some jobs here because these Rhode Islanders who work for Hasbro in Rhode Island don't want to move up there. They like the rent here better than there. They want to stay. Is this hybrid in the mix?
So we haven't been talking about a hybrid. I think everybody is ready to go to the hybrid if that's the case.
Okay.
They originally made it clear it was a whole package. But I also think that because the governor and his team and our teams have put such a competitive bid, I think that they have to look at that. Yeah. They have a lot to lose. Their main concern was the existing facility and the capital infrastructure that was coming down the road for them in the next 3 to 5 years. Understanding that's why we did what we did. So we want it all. Naturally, we hope that they want to be here, and then we have to, if not, if they make the decision, we have to start talking about what do they leave behind. They have a legacy issue here as well. They have responsibility to the state as well, and so we'll be working on those next.
Half a loaf is bread or half a potato, whatever it is, you'll take it. Are you afraid that people are going to blame you if Hasbro walks?
No.
Do you think the governor's afraid people are going to blame him? Because my understanding, this CEO, with Chris Cox, he doesn't want to be here. For some reason, he wants to be in either Boston or New York or a big city. He wants that. Nothing against you or him or Rhode Island. That's my understanding. Would you confirm that for me?
Yeah, no, so I've met with Chris a few times. I think that he has a vision for the company. Okay. He's very close to the vest that he should be as private industry, but he has a vision, and I'm not sure the vision is all here in Rhode Island, like you said. Having said that, though, it was our job. He laid out some things that were concerns to the company, from education, job retention. It wasn't all about financing, and I think that the governor and his team and our teams have put a great proposal together. So we've heard him. So now it's his decision. At the end of the day, no matter what we do, it's really Hasbro. They're a private company, Fortune 500. It would be a loss to lose them. And if you and I have talked about this, there's been a lot of hits to Pawtucket, in the past, but we're also moving forward. And we're in a renaissance period, and we want them to be part of it down on the waterfront.
Okay, I don't have the news. You don't have the news. No. The governor told me Friday when we're taping, he doesn't have the news.
And that, to the best of my knowledge, that is true to everybody. We were understanding they were in, like you said, you heard. They were in this week, but they told us originally that we would hear something in February.
And Governor Raimondo, former Commerce Secretary Raimondo, made a call on the state's behalf. I understand the call went well. I don't have the transcript. I don't know what they said, but you're aware of this?
No, I hadn't heard it till this morning.
Okay.
And with the governor, with former Commerce Secretary, she's been excellent. She was part of it back in 19. We were very close with this when we had talked about it with the former CEO, Brian Goldner, God rest his soul. So she was very, very active then, knew the numbers, so I think that would hopefully be a very influential call and supportive.
Okay, with the governor on the radio, we did the 3 H's. Hasbro, now let's do housing.
Yeah.
You've been more receptive than some communities have to taking more low-income housing. Is that because of your demographics? For example, Johnson doesn't want it.
Yeah.
Mayor Johnson's got a plan. The developer's been blocked. He's going to take that land by eminent domain, put a fire department there, a police complex. He said, we don't want that in Johnson. I have 3 already. I don't want any more. He's pushing back. You not so much.
Yeah, so there are 39 cities and towns, and everybody we probably have, double the personalities and focusing on the community. Pawtucket is a very welcome and open community, right? We have a very diverse demographic. We have some housing issues. We have some homeless issue. We've taken the approach where we've supported one of the organizations. We rebuilt 1139 Main Street, and we have about 40 to 60 folks in there. We know with the incentives that the speaker has done on housing, we need to put more people in housing and we need to be supportive. But there's a balance. But each community is different, and we have some opportunity. We've, in the right neighborhoods with the right support. And again, I'm not the expert, but it is a statewide issue, and there needs to be the surrounding support. But the governor has done a good job, and the speaker has done a great job, pushing legislation through. And I think because of that, we'll be able to see this. Now, it doesn't happen fast enough, but to your point, Pawtucket's always welcoming. There's a balance, right? We want to make sure.
They're pushing it. The governor's pushing it. Chikarchi's pushing it, but they're getting pushed back. Johnson doesn't want it. Narragansett, other communities saying, no, hold, we don't want it, not here. Not now. Whose side are you on? Would you pick up the phone and say, hey, you all have to take it? Not just Pawtucket, not just Providence.
Fair question.
Or let them do what they want. It's their town. You don't like people telling you how to run your city.
The challenge is, right, we have the quota, which is a 10%, right, on affordable housing. I'm talking 2 different issues, but on that, right? So everybody has a certain responsibility that we should be meeting a certain level. So I agree with that. Then it becomes how much more that a community can sustain. I have a little bit of development opportunity, minimal, but we're trying to do our part because we have people who are in crisis mode, and you have to balance it. So I think it's, there has to be a standard for everybody, and I think that's what the state is setting, and then each community can at least no less than having that responsibility.
Affordable housing, low-income housing, it is tied in with the homeless, but keep it separate. Now, with regard to the homeless, the governor, look, this Echo Village pallet thing has been a thing around his neck. And they gave the money without thinking it through, okay? And that's on the governor, the speaker, and House of Hope that asked for the money. Okay, they're going to open it, great. But he told me on the radio, I'm not crazy about that pallet shelter. He prefers other things, and he mentioned your city, what you're doing with these 40, is it 40 rooms or 40 beds?
It's 40
what
beds.
Are you doing? Because he said, I like that. We
partnered with one of the nonprofit organizations and working with them. So we had a housing authority who bought the facility.
Where is it again?
It's on 1139 Main Street in Pawtucket.
What was it before this?
It was a former vacant, last time it was vacant for a few years, but it was an old Potts store.
And what is it now? What
Converted
are you doing?
now, so we finally, with the support of the state, we renovated it. They can do up to 40 beds right now, potentially up to 60, because of the fire code. We renovated the whole building, put showers, bathrooms. There's a process with the organization, that check in, and it's part of the CES process as well. So it's every day in there. It's not long term, it's short term, and I think we have to look at the long term.
When you say 40, is it cots in a big room or is it private?
No,
because the homeless want privacy.
No,
they want to close the door.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's a couple of areas, and there are bunk beds. So there are 40 beds, yes.
And when you mention CES, that's the Coordinated Entry System. If you're homeless, you have to call a number, and we get you in. It might be one place or another. So the governor says that's a good idea. You agree with him?
Yes.
It's congregate beds, but in a smaller setting, not the Armory, not a giant thing like
Correct.
that.
It's a little more intimate.
Okay. Well, you may be the model for that.
But can I say, just on the Echo Village, I mean, this has been around for a long time. Pawtucket was one of the first with Governor Raimondo and then Secretary of Commerce Stefan Pryor. We had a spot identified. This has been a challenge, from fire and code. This has been around for 5 or 6 years. It's sad that it's taken us all so long, but government's there. And I think the Governor McKee has done a great job trying to push it, even though he does own it now, but it was inherited, so.
All right. Mayor, stay with us. We have to get to your high school,
Yep.
your new
High school, yep.
schools, and maybe a new city hall, too.
Yep.
That's in the works, too. Stay with us. The mayor's going to be here.
Rough estimates, Gene, the tower alone is $20 million. And then what happens is when we open up the roof, we lose all our grandfather rights, so our electric, our fire.
Okay.
And that's about 70, north of 70. You add it with the 20 million, you're north of 90. So from a business perspective, it makes no sense.
All right. Well, the mayor says we need a new city hall in Pawtucket. That much we know. Let's update. That was the last time you were in. By the way, who decided to build Rapunzel's Tower over there? Like a useless piece of design. It was nice, I guess, at one point.
Quick story.
It's leaky. Go ahead. What's
Years
the story?
ago, it was the McCoy era, and it was supposedly there was another elevator shaft that they stopped, that he was going to have the mayor's office on the top floor.
Are you kidding me?
That's the story. Whether it's true or not, I can't swear to it, but that's the history of the tower.
You know, years ago, the government spent on design and architectural significance, but I don't know if that one backfired or not. All right, what's the plan? What are we doing
So right now, the council several months ago approved the purchase of Freight Street property. So we will be moving everybody over to that Freight Street. We're doing the design right now and the engineering of phase one. So in the next couple of months, we'll have our first set of City Hall employees over there.
Police too, or police stays?
No, police and fire are going to stay right now.
Okay.
We will be doing like the municipal court and some of their collections and fine areas will be consolidated. We do have a proposal on the table that we're looking at for a new public safety complex, separate and apart. So the goal is to get everybody out of City Hall, the employees first. Council, who is running the prospects right now and the control of property, have us in taking a look at what it would cost us, looking at federal grants, state grants to apply to renovate it to what standard or what use we haven't decided. And then we'd get everybody out, then look at the public safety complex. From a business perspective, it makes no sense for City Hall to go back in there because it's not conducive for that. But from an historic value, we want to preserve the tower, preserve the structure. So again, hypothetically, if there's somebody out there that wants it, we're willing to talk a deal.
Well, listen, you know your city better, but you do have Slater Mill right next door. Is it possible you could unload this to the National Park Service?
Listen, those are conversations, but
you've heard that maybe.
But we'd love
Take
to
it
get
off our
there.
hands.
But right now we're going through I'll say the grievance process in a way, right? There's a community that wants to keep City Hall, and there's nobody out there that doesn't want to save the historical value and the structure. It's what the reuse is what we have to define.
You're the mayor. Do you sign on to that or take the tower down? Not everything's worth saving.
Correct. We went out and we did some funding about 6-7 years ago, and we went out for a $5 million bond to renovate the tower, and the voters approved it very narrowly. The challenge with is mayor, I don't have control of property. I'm working very closely in partnership with the council, but that is a council function. So we've been partnering with it. They've agreed, they authorized us to buy the new building, we're moving out, and they're going through their due diligence in the public process to get involvement and perspectives.
You bought the new building, you'll be moving in there, police and fire stay, and the rest of it will be empty, and you're hoping to get somebody to help you take it off your hands.
Yep, and we're looking to get Pawtucket, the fire and police out of there as well.
Okay, now let's go to your schools. We've been talking about this. Update us. You got plans? Big plans for schools in Pawtucket.
Yep. So we have a new school committee, so they're getting their feet wet with our new superintendent. But we are moving forward. The voters approved the funding. They have their construction and owner operators rep, and they're planning on March doing the demo on McCoy Stadium.
McCoy comes down.
Yeah.
New high school goes in.
Correct. We start the process. It's a 5 or 6 year process. They're a little behind a couple of months on demolition, so they're looking at March. So that'll come down and they'll start all the groundwork.
All right. To get to everything we're talking about, you go through your downtown. And last time you were in, I mean, nobody likes to get the medicine, but
it's true.
It's hit and miss.
Agreed.
A lot of it's empty. It still doesn't look good.
Right.
What do we do with that?
So basically, we're doing the Band-Aid approach, right? We had some federal dollars. We're giving grants and support to the small businesses that are there, keep them sustainable, and also do some facade. It's minimal, right? The bigger plans are once we get the Tidewater facility open with the commuter rail, we have 2 developments in the immediate area, so we need to get residents down there who are going to have disposable income to start spending to support the businesses. And then it's our belief that we'll start seeing funds coming in and be able to now redesign. We want to make it a live workspace. Right now it's just a small business and it's deteriorating.
I wish you the best. I wish when I drove through it, sometimes you find yourself in your city to
you
get
get lost.
around.
No, listen,
it just doesn't look good. All right, I want it to look good. Look, let's go to things that are looking good. You're going to open a soccer stadium.
Yep.
That's coming. That's your Tidewater, right? You got plans on both sides of the river.
Yep.
And Apex, the old Apex becomes?
Right now it's on hold because that's our proposal for the Hasbro facility. So we're hoping that Hasbro takes us up on that development opportunity. Right at the same time Hasbro made the announcement, we, the PRA, which is our Pawtucket Redevelopment Agency, went out for RFP. So we have 4 proposals in that we have not opened up for the reuse. But right now, primary is we're trying to get Hasbro to be in that location and be the main tenant.
Would they keep the old buildings? Because that's part of this hybrid I'm hearing, that they go to Boston, but they keep those old buildings there. It doesn't cost them anything. Are you hoping for Apex and the older buildings?
So the older buildings,
they're where they are now?
Where they are now has to be a conversation. The Apex, though, we were talking about moving everything over there, state of the art. We have some developers we talked about. All Hasbro needs to say is we'll be the anchor tenant, and we can get that going.
Okay, good luck with that.
Thank you.
The train station on Central Falls Pawtucket line is promising. That's going to be a big deal.
Quickly, a lot of opportunity and a lot of mill buildings that are getting renovated over to live workspace, and so that's a really happening area. And in the back, we have about 20 acres that's owned by one of the organizations, Hope Artiste, and they're coming in front of us with plans to do some development in those areas. So it's moving.
Just quickly, 10 seconds,
Yes.
Memorial Hospital, because it's always on the list.
Quickly, finally, they're working through the Cypre agreement. They're working with the state. So over the next couple of months, you should be signing off, the Attorney General should be signing off, and you'll see some activity start happening.
Great. Mayor, boy, we got a full boat in Pawtucket.
Thank you.
Whether it's going the right direction or wrong, we got a lot to talk about. And I wish you the best. Thanks for coming in. See you soon.
Appreciate it, Gene.